My name is Gavin Skarbek, and for my purpose scenario project, I have built and programmed this robot. Throughout this project, I have learned to improvise and engineer, because sometimes this robot didn't do what I wanted it to do, and I had to change some of its hardware, which is really interesting. I also learned some basic coding, which allowed me to actually make this robot move. Now I'm going to show you the hardware of this robot. These are the parts that help it stand, move, and work. Without them, it would just fall over. This is a robotic arm. It is the most complex part, it has the most moving parts, and it took me the longest to build. It's also very hard to program. Next, we have the wheels and the motors that help the robot actually move. These were very simple to code and build. This is the brain of the robot, which makes it move. It's the coding part that you have to input everything into and actually do the things. This is the wheel that holds up the brain. Without it, it would just fall over and drag. This is the light sensor. I'll get into that later. But now I'm going to show you how I built this robot. So first, I started off with the hardware, which was very easy to build, yet complex to understand. It is the bones of the robot, which holds it up and lets it move without falling apart. It doesn't require too many parts, not as much as the robotic arm, but it's still complex. Next, I added on the wheels and the motors that drive them. Then the brain, which just uses two things to hold it on. It isn't that difficult. Next, the light sensors, which were relatively easy to build. Then I added the robotic arm. This was very challenging to build, as I already said, and the way it mounts the robot's very simple. But the actual arm is very hard to build. Now for the coding. So first, of course, you want to turn it on, and then go to NXT programming, and then click the button one more time to actually get into the code. And the first box is a bunch of motor codes and even a few tones, but you can pick a ton, like left, right, and forward, but I usually pick forward. You can even pick empty. Next, you click the button again to get to the next, but the second box is a bunch of codes for the sensors, and you can make the robot wait to do it next code, and you can also mount the sensors it uses here, but I did not use them because I did not need them in my project. But the next code is the same as the first. You just can do another left, right, forward, backward, anything. But for this, I picked forward again. The fourth is the same as the second. You can make it wait or do anything with the sensors, but the fifth is a bit different. You can either make it stop or loop, which the stop makes it just do the code and then do nothing else, but the loop makes it do it again. And then you can just either pick run, save, or go to the main menu. I just picked run, and then you can click run and it'll actually move the robot. So I just picked forward and then backward, which is a really simple code. And as you can see, it worked perfectly. And that is how you code the robot. The first code I actually ever did in this robot was just make it go straight forward. And the code for that is forward 5, empty, forward 5, empty, and then loop. The next code I did with this robot is forward 1, right 1, and then looped, which makes it do this weird little circle thing. The really jerky circle thing. That really isn't much of a code, but it makes the robot move and it does work. And this is my only second code, so I really didn't know what I was doing. But now we have the revised version of the last code, which is forward 5, right 2, which makes it do the really large version of the last.
And then,
and last but not least,
kick a ball
I made
into
the
a little
robot
cardboard goal I made.
This ball into a little cardboard goal I made. As you can see, it's pretty funny. The reason you never saw this light sensor is because I was very limited with what I could use at home, and I never could program it. I didn't have the wiring for it, and I hope you can understand. Thank you so much for watching. I wanted to thank Mrs. Loewy for providing me this robot and helping me place my scenario idea. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I will try to answer the best I can. And I hope you enjoy.